Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we have the pleasure of taking the first look at the Halloween tank, the brand new one, the mighty one, probably one of the most awaited freaking events of the year because every time we have Halloween we have something broken. Welcome the Pharaoh that you can see right there on the thumbnail. So let's dive into World of Tank Blitz official video in order for us to discover what awaits us. First of all, welcome the Medjay. It's going to be a tier 5 premium or collectible tank that is the free reward from the Halloween event. And as you can see, it's based on an already existing premium into the game, which is the Excelsior. Basically, in my opinion, it's going to be maybe something that has more armor and that goes less fast, which is already horrific knowing that the Excelsior is really struggling with its current mobility. But hey, it's a free reward, and on top of that, Wargaming did, in my opinion, a great job making it Egypt related, because I think you guessed it by now and by the look of the overall garage you see in the background here, the event is based on myth around Egypt, pharaohs, etc. And of course, talking about pharaohs, you are gonna be surprised to discover finally the mighty beast Wargaming cooked for us, aka the Pharaoh's treasury. When we open it, boom, there we go with the beast. And here are the statistics, and trust me, just by that, there is a lot to say. We are going to start directly with the main thing. Every single Halloween tank is equipped with a special mechanism that is definitely proper to the tank. The Annihilator had 3 shells in a row, the Helsing had 2 shells in a row, the Dracula has the capability, or ability to repair its tracks within 1.5 seconds. For the Pharaoh, it's called Desert Force. We don't know yet what it is, but if we base ourselves on this little track icon, in my opinion, it's gonna tell us that this tank will be able to have some speed, some kind of nitro from time to time. And if it's the case, it's going to be a freaking hell of a tank. Why? Because if you dive into the speed statistics, it goes to 25 kilometers per hour in average. What does it tell us? It tells us that the tank is slow. What kind of tanks are slow? The tanks that are heavily armored. If it's the case, it means that we're gonna get something that is extremely armored, knowing that on top of that, it seems like the turret is just a gun mantlet, so something that is impenetrable when you're using it correctly in all down. And if on top of this, you combine the only downside the tank has with an ability to literally erase the downside, which is the Desert Force, aka the Nitro, it means that we are going to get a tank that maybe for 10 seconds is going to have the same mobility as a medium. So in definitive, an extremely aggressive playstyle type of heavy tank. And on top of that, to help you bursting shells through your opponents, you are equipped with an autoloader that features 3 shells, 250 damage per shell for a total of 750 outburst. It's simply the biggest outburst you find at tier 7. Of course, to compensate for that, it seems like the penetration is quite poor because as you can see, it's only 185, but I want to remind you that all you have to do is switching to gold shell, and I'm 100% sure that the gold shells are going to penetrate really hard, like it was the case with the Annihilator previously. So if I had to summarize the tank for you, you are facing, if I'm true on the special mechanism, something that is slow without the mechanism but definitely has a great armor and a great gun. And at the same time, when it's using Desert Force, you just erase the bad mobility and you get yourself for maybe 10 seconds one of the greatest mobilities ever. But at the same time, there is one thing about this icon that could remind me of something else. If they really wanted to show us the speed, will they necessarily focus on the tracks? I don't think so. It's also possible that the Desert Force is going to be the premise of the eye-drop pneumatic suspension, because we know that the mechanism is ready. Wargaming is just waiting to test it at large scale in order to know if they implement it or not. It would just be a great idea from Wargaming to implement it on the Halloween tank and see how players that own the tank react with it, and it will allow them to gather data. So maybe that the Desert Force mechanism is something like the eye-drop pneumatic suspension, so something that allows you to artificially increase or decrease your gun depression. And if it's the case, it kind of counterbalances the tank because the mobility is quite poor, which means that you are going to struggle to get into position. But the good reward is that if you manage to get into position, you will be a beast in all down. And maybe that it's what Wargaming is cooking. But you know what? Let's not wait here. Let's jump into it. Not only do we have the tank, you see here a closer look to the legendary Camo, which makes the tank, quite golden all the way around. And it's just beautiful, even if it's a little bit of a flex in my opinion. I don't know, I just like the spirit of Egypt, and obviously seeing something like that being implemented is great. On top of that, they're showing us what seems to be new skills in different game modes, but I'm not gonna talk too much about that because honestly, it's just going to be here for 1, 2, 3 weeks maximum, so I kind of don't care. But after that, they are hyping us so much on new stuff. First of all, they are obviously showing you once again the Mage and its beautiful legendary Camo. And as you can see, it's equipped with spikes at the front of the tank. I don't know, it just looks cool. It's a nice addition. Is it going to allow you to ram a little bit better your targets? It's possible, actually. I do not have a clue if it's going to be modeled or not. And here we have a better look at the armor profile of the Pharaoh. As I told you, it seems like the tank is only a gun mantlet. On the turret, it's just a gun mantlet, and if it's the case, it's impossible to penetrate. But if that little area you see right there is penetrable, it's going to be the weak spot. Now, for the hull, you have the spaced armor with the Pharaoh wings right there. Maybe that this spot here is going to be less armor than the rest, but judging by how it's angled, it's probably going to be impossible to penetrate. And the only possibility for you to penetrate is actually the lower part of the hull, and good luck finding it because it seems so freaking small. Now at the time, there is another thing that we can notice about the tank. Here, this little lantern, or I don't know how to call it, that is all around the tank. I'm gonna tell you why I think that a lot of people are gonna get hyped for that, but I think it's going to be the downside and another one to the tank. Why is it turning like that? It turns right after the guy snapped all his shells into the opponent. What does it tell us? That maybe that lantern, when it's shining like that, is telling you or telling the opponents that you are currently reloading. And if that's the case, you just carry with you a big picture, a big whatever, call it whatever you want, but a big information that says, hey, I'm reloading, attack me. And if it's the case, it's going to be terrible because it means that you are not going to be a stand-alone tank. You will have to always be with the rest of your team to avoid getting pushed when everyone can see that you are reloading. But it's something for another day. Now, beautiful legendary camos and attachments except for the AMX 50-100. What the hell is that Wargaming? But on the ISU 152, on the E75, if we move aside the Venom factor, and on the SU-152, you just did a beautiful render Wargaming, and I'm kind of happy with that. Now we see the garage, we see what it's going to look like, and just because it's hilarious, they put the Pharaoh as a smash. I'm gonna show you back this, but it's crazy the imagination they have, but I wish they could go a little bit further and maybe add a new map. A new map where we would have at the center the Smasher being a Pharaoh. It would be amazing, even if it's not movable or anything, but just already seeing it in the garage is crazy. So shout out to the creative team that came up with this idea. You guys are awesome. Now you're probably wondering when this event is going to be available. Monday, 21st of October is Halloween, and usually the event starts 2 weeks before. So around the 15th of October, you can get ready to get your hands on the Pharaoh, which seems to be an intriguing tank. I don't know yet if it's going to be good, but obviously when it will be out, I'll do a video on it. But waiting for that to happen, we have only to speculate about the abilities of the Pharaoh, which will be revealed soon enough, probably in a new video that I will do, or the video of another YouTuber when we will have more information. But I'm definitely hyped for it, but I don't know yet what the abilities are all about. If it's iDrop pneumatic suspension, not only does it tell us that the game is evolving because it will soon be something implemented on the STB and on new lines that will come into the game. And if it's only a nitro, it's always a good thing because maybe that is going to be something expandable to other tanks, like, I don't know, maybe regular tanks, nitro tanks, like World of Tanks PC is currently implementing with the new branch of Chinese heavy tanks. So hopefully you enjoyed. If that's the case, feel free to tell me in the comments. And obviously, most importantly, tell me in the comments what you think the new mechanism, the Desert Forces mechanism that the Pharaoh is holding, will be or will look like in battle. And I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.